Hi everyone, my name is Roy Holman. I live here in Everett, Washington, and Happy New Year. Today is January 1st, 2019, and I woke up this morning so excited about what is going on Earth that I said, man, I got to make a video. So here I am. I'm going to talk as concise and brief as I can um, about what I see as what's going on Earth. And that'll be the first half. And in the last half, I'm going to talk a little bit about 10 tips to help us survive these changes and thrive and help co-create a new Earth, heaven on Earth, that much. So I've been investigating this stuff, researching what's going on Earth in 2012 and all this from so many different perspectives. And I'm thankful for all those perspectives. But some of them, each one seems to often miss some of it. And so I am going to be arrogant and try to combine all those perspectives or give a well-rounded perspective the best I can in the next, hopefully, 25 minutes or so. So let's see, where do we start? First, I want to say I am a recovering doomsdayer. I thought we were toast on Earth. I mean, growing up and still today and looking at what's going on the planet, what we've done to the Earth, and what we continue to do with to one another, I said, man, we're not going to make it through this mess. But as I researched more and more and healed some of my own inner pain, I started to see a little more about the bigger picture. And now I'm just honored and excited to be here at this time of amazing shift. And let's talk about that for a second. There is a real, genuine shift going on. It's been kind of perverted and added fear to, and Hollywood has done some weird things to it, but there is a real, genuine, very rare, profound shift going on Earth, and it's bringing a very rare alignment and influx of high vibration energy, and it's creating this shift that we're in right now. And it's doing kind of what Eckhart Tolle talks about. It's making it better and worse at the same time, but the worse, or sometimes we call the bad, is making all the noise. So that's what we see in the headlines. So we get convinced, as some want us to be convinced, that it's getting worse and that we're doomed, and we should stay afraid. Keep in mind, fear has been used against us for millennia, and it is very low vibration: shame, guilt, fear. So that's something we'll talk about later in the tips department, getting out of that fear. But this is a very beautiful, real alignment, but some of the darker energies on the planet have co-opted it and tried to get us scared. Y2K and then 2012, and one of the plans was to create such fear of, first, there are no ETs. They want us to believe that we're all alone in the universe, which is really strange. But if there are ETs, they're all bad and out to get us. More fear, right? And that plan seems to have been defeated. I don't think that one's going to happen. But we will talk about some of the other nefarious plans. So there is a shift happening. There is also, I should say, World War III in a way is being fought. There have been attempts to create a real, more traditional, like World War I and II, World War III, to, again, distract all the things that war does for the dark forces, right? Keep us afraid, divert money into their evil projects and things, just create such a big mess, right? But that has, again, been defeated because there's a lot more light on the planet than dark. It's so beautiful. But there is a shadow war going on right now between the light and the dark. And again, I'm seeing bits and pieces of truth come through in so many ways through, the Christian teachings about the end of the world scenario and stuff. But again, that gets a little bit perverted as well. But there is indeed this dark versus light battle. We don't want to get too lost in the drama, but it is happening. And let's talk more about that. Who are these? I got my little list here. I'm going to try to stay on track here. What are these dark forces I talk about? Well, first of all, there is no dark and light. It's all one, right? We are it. So let's not get lost in the drama. But there are, more importantly, there's dark energies within ourself, right? Parts of ourself we haven't healed or looked at. We've denied and repressed and projected out. That's where we got to look more than anything. But there are energies, entities on the planet. And briefly, I'll just mention who these are. Globally, we might call many things: cabal, ruling elite, secret or shadow government, what else? Illuminati. Many words have been used. deep state, and it's a bunch of different groups that agree, at least in some areas, to try to control the world, you might say, and they've done pretty well for a while in the dark, older energy. It's getting harder now. You can't keep secrets anymore. You may have noticed. It's all coming out. So some of these dark forces know the gig is up, and they're trying to give a little partial disclosure of the truth. Some of us want it all out, as painful as it will be. So again, these is a hodgepodge of different groups. Some are just psychopaths and sociopaths. Most of them are wanting control and control freaks. Some of them are quasi-religious, Satanistic, Luciferian, interesting groups. There's also, I'll say, this is all going to get really weird here, but there's also a German group that is mostly off-planet, if I understand right. It's important to look at the real history. Germany kind of lost the battle in Germany, but won the war. They went to Antarctica, underground basically, and started doing reverse engineering on ET crafts and found some friends in some dark, and these are some of the dark forces as well. Some of them are not human. Some of the Draco-reptilian groups who supported these Germans in winning the war, so to speak. So let's see. That is part of but even above these cabal and German groups, which don't always get along, there's also this Draco-reptilian, and even above that is this sometimes called, related to Satan, kind of artificial intelligence slash kind of programmed life force. It's very interesting. We don't know if some of these beings even have souls. It gets really strange, but there's a lot of dark forces at work. They have had the technology. Most of them have had the secret hidden technology. They've blocked it from coming forth for the general public for many reasons, to keep us sick and keep buying their drugs, and also profiting from us so they could support their secret agenda. They've used it for geoengineering, changing, affecting the climate. They've poisoned us on all levels, from fluoride to some vaccines. I know this sounds like, oh, more conspiracy theory, but we've got to open our eyes, because it seems to be happening on many levels. Again, there's a war going on. So these guys seem to want to destroy part of the world and part of the population, take over completely. They've got underground hideouts, been investing trillions of our money to build those, as well as off-planet. There's a whole secret space program that's a whole topic in itself. And a lot of those whistleblowers are coming forth to talk about that. I think his name's Kevin Shipp, an SHIPP, ex-CIA, that has some good stuff online about all the mechanisms that are used to keep people from being whistleblowers. It is comprehensive, and fear is at the bottom of it, or the top of it, right? But more and more are coming forth. There's more energy and safety to do so, and it's going to be an avalanche of truth coming out in disclosure. So those are some of the dark forces. They seem to feel that they can either escape off-planet or underground, and maybe use their technology to rebuild the planet after they destroy most of it. I don't think it's going to work. The light is winning, and we'll talk more about that. Who is this light I'm talking about? Well, there's all levels of light, of course, but there is a group called the Earth Alliance, which again is a hodgepodge of various groups. Some of them have been part of the dark force and have escaped or had enough of that stuff. Some of them are ETs themselves. Let's put it this way. There are more benevolent ET groups than malevolent, however you say that, bad. And they are helping us as best they can. There is a free will guideline or rule on this planet, but it's been violated so much by the dark forces that there's a little wiggle room, you might say, and we've been getting some help. And one of the ways they're helping is they are blocking some of the potential nuclear catastrophes from getting very bad. They've helped do that before, and it's important to know we are going to save ourselves. Nothing's going to save us, but we've got some support. And again, fear not, fear not, fear not. So the main light is within ourselves. We are the light. We are the light workers, right? Again, there is an Earth alliance with, they don't have, their hands are a little dirty too, some of them is what I understand. Some of them are part of our military, by the way. We're getting a lot of people changing sides, have had enough. That's part of the shift. It's very beautiful. Let's see. Some of the, I'll mention one more of the insidious things. It goes through so many areas, but galactic and Earth slave trade is part of the drugs as well. But many ways that they are keeping us A, afraid, and B, making money to support this insidious agenda. So more will be coming out about that, and it's going to be beyond shocking. It's going to be causing PTSD when we see what has been done to us around us. Again, the fear mongers have tried to convince us that 2012 will be either a catastrophe or nothing at all. The truth, what I understand, is that the prophecy said it could have, there's a crossroads and it could go either way. And my understanding is that we've reached the point where the light is winning and has won. It's been kind of, I don't want to say decided, but some say it was in 1987 with the harmonic conversion, some have called it, where there was kind of an energetic vote, if you will, to move into the light, to ascend, not leave the bodies, but to create a heaven on earth. There's always choice here. We are co-creating all this. And enough people said, enough of this. Let's not destroy ourselves. Let's not blow ourselves up. There's a good idea. We've come close. But my understanding is once we got past 2012, that it's kind of over. The dark side knows this. Their back is to the wall. Some are saying, oh, I may as well come into the light. And some are fighting harder than ever to turn up the fear machine. Like I said, maybe start another false flag, World War III or whatever. Look for big-time distractions because some are desperate. Now, I want to mention one more thing before I jump into some tips, 10 tips to help us through this. Let's talk about Donald Trump for a minute. I know some of you don't want to talk about him. Remember, there's nothing black or white going on. We have to not lose ourselves in the polarity. You'll hear me do it off and on as I talk to you here, get into this dark and light and good and bad. It's not really, in the deepest sense, that's not what it is. Donald Trump is not one thing. Some of us, including myself, have been ticked off about building walls when we want to tear walls down in some ways, in my opinion. But be careful here. He does seem to be having enough guts to stand up to some things, some old ways. And here's the agenda, what I've heard about what could be going on. Supposedly some of the generals in the U.S. military that wanted to come into the light, so to speak, or bring us into the light, they've talked about a coup attempt to overcome this deep state cabal group that's been running things. And there's been some attempts in the past that have failed because this group is very smart, this dark force. They've had the technology, they got some cities or psychic gifts and stuff. They're pretty good at this stuff. They stand one step ahead of the game. But there's been talk about a coup, but apparently some of this group went to Donald Trump before the election and said, hey, if we support you get elected, will you help pave the way for a legal way of overcoming this dark force, these dark forces? And Donald Trump, A, has enough money to support his own election, and B, is a little bit different outside the usual ruling elite box, you might say, in some ways. And so supposedly he said, yeah, so be careful about him. He's not all good, all bad, but there is evidence that he is standing up to the dark forces and paving the way with certain executive orders and keeping some of the prisons open so we could put some of these darker energies away for a while. There are now, as I speak today here, January 1st, 2019, 70,000 secret indictments on the books. Wow. Apparently in any given year there's only 1,000 or so, and you can look this up, I guess, on pacer.gov.org, something like that, Pacer, P-A-C-E-R. And within every one of those indictments, there could be up to almost close to 100, I heard, 93 or so. So that means hundreds of thousands of people are being secretly indicted. And then that means once they decide to go forward, I guess there's mass arrests en masse. And then trials, tribunals. I don't know what they would look like. But the speculation is these arrests could be of these deep state cabal Illuminati folks. That's what we're guessing and hoping. Wow, and it's already begun. Should accelerate this month here, perhaps. We'll see. But exciting times, huh? That's kind of just a snapshot of one of the things that are going on. Keep in mind, too, with these solar flares are part of this new energy vibration that's coming in. They're blasting us with higher vibration energy that is helping people awaken. That's what this is about. There also could be, there's talk, and this is in the prophecies too, about a solar, what do they call it? Flash, not just a flare. A solar flash that could kind of finish off this shift and wake up millions of people. Some are not going to be awakened. They're going to choose to stay in a different reality for a while, you might say. Nobody gets left behind. There's not good or bad. We're all part of this, but we've all got different states, different path, different states of evolution, right? So I'll touch on more of that as I go through the 10 tips now. I want to talk on about 10 things that could help us not just stay sane, but again, help us co-create this new world. That's what some of the prophecies talked about, that once we got past this point, that we would create what's called the golden age, or the Sat Yuga, the age of truth. And you'll notice that there's a lot of truth coming out, and it's only the tip of the iceberg. Very exciting. So the first one is to wake up, allow yourself to be awakened, and to pay attention, and to open the mind and allow changes. We are so, all of us, deeply programmed, deeply. So we've got some old beliefs and patterns that we've got to question, face, and be humble enough to say, wow, I was wrong. I'm looking at Donald Trump and saying, okay, this feels right, this doesn't, and really looking at my views. Same thing with Democrat, Republican. We've got to watch that. We'll talk more about that. Number 2, find community. Create sacred community. People that want to create like Sangha, seekers of truth, speakers of truth. People that want to really co-create this shift. Because if we hang out with people that are, no judgment, but want to stay stuck, or they're just unable to move out of old patterns and stay distracted with our vices, we're going to stay stuck with them. So we have to make some bold moves and start to create community of people that want to meditate together, visualize, cry together, speak truth. Very important. The Buddha said that's the most important. Number 3, move out of the polarity. This is a planet of duality and polarity. There's always going to be masculine, feminine, up and down, black and white, and all this stuff. Play the game. You know, it's ultimately not true in the deepest sense, but not get lost in it, right? And I'm seeing this again with a lot of the perspectives about this change. You know, it's either Trump is a hero or he's the enemy. No, he's just like us. He's got some shadow and he's got some light. We can't go into hero worship. A lot of people say, oh, it's about Donald Trump. Trump is not going to save us. The ETs are not going to save us. This Earth Alliance is not going to save us. It's all right here, right? We are the ones we've been waiting for. We're going to save ourselves. But there is help here and there. You see what I mean? We got to watch that old individualized hero worship. We're all in this together. So where was I? So move out of the extreme polarity. And it's real difficult. Number 4, speak truth, get in our integrity, be vulnerable, be real. It's time. This new energy is not going to be helpful if we want to stay in untruth and lie and try to live out of integrity, out of authenticity. It's going to be increasingly uncomfortable. This is an age of truth. The light is getting really bright and it's shining into every shadow. So that'll accelerate our path moving into truth, or slow our ascension if we stay in untruth, fooling ourselves more than anything. Next, warrior energy. We need, like Jesus said with the sword, right? What did he say? I didn't come here to make peace, but to bring a sword. We've got to get our third chakra. We've got to get our power back and stand up. Fear has been used against us over and over. I heard Corey Good, who is one of the I think, most amazing voices for the shift right now. He was in the secret space program, which is an amazing topic. Look him up, Corey, Corey, and then Good, Goode, I believe. And he said he's got a wonderful spiritual perspective, but even he said, I got the quote, I think he said, where Zen ends and butt kicking begins. Yeah, we got to find our center and meditate and all that. And we got to, that doesn't mean being a marshmallow, a fluff ball. Pick up the sword, stand up and fight. Not resisting, fighting against. Just be a lighthouse and stand tall in our light of who we are. Next one, number 6, raise our vibration. Again, this light, this energy that's coming in is a high vibration. If we don't match that, we won't be assisted and uplifted, you might say. If we stay in old energies of anger, fear, resentment, blame, shame, it's going to hold us and the shift back. We have to face our fears and go into those shadows, those parts we haven't looked at. These are not things that have been taught to us. That's why we got to be open to changing the old way. Our parents, previous generations did their best they could. We've got to go further, and we are being provided the resources to do that at this time. These and greater things we too shall do. Something like that Jesus also talked about. This is the time. The return of Jesus, I believe, is also the Christ force within each of us too, by the way. Hopefully he'll show up too. What the heck? There's a lot of the prophecy said that great teachers would arrive to help us. They are here, but they're alive within each of us. That's the main thing. Number 7, compassion as a catalyst. I love the Cryon channelings, if you're into that. Kryon. 14, 15 great books out right now that are really beautiful about this shift. Very positive perspective, very spiritual overview, but they talk about compassion being a catalyst for the new energies because we've been so separate and we closed our hearts. So it's really important to open our hearts, and that's the spiritual purpose of these catastrophes where we have a 9/11 or a tsunami and all that stuff. The spiritual purpose, anyway, is to feel the connection and awaken compassion, which will help the shift. Also on that level, I should say too, in compassion, forgive. We not rushing prematurely to forgive from the head, but from the heart. Feel the feelings fully, go through the rage. When we hear about what's really been going on the planet, we're going to be enraged. It's going to be natural and inevitable to some degree. But as fast as possible, feel fully, move through that, don't deny it, but get to the forgiveness, because we've all got some areas that are dark and need forgiveness and compassion, right? It's like the prodigal son is how it goes with Jesus. The story about the 2 sons with the inheritance. One goes and blows it and parties and goes crazy, comes back, and the father has a party to welcome him home. There's some dark forces on the planet that are maybe going to be coming through some tough times. Some of them might want to make amends. Some want to come back to the light. We have to decide how are we going to handle that. Some of us are going to want to chop their heads off and torture them, and I think we're going to have to, as quickly as possible, get back to welcoming them back. They are us. They are just a reflection of us, right? There's only one of us here. Okay, number 8, body care. There's been a war on our bodies, on our microbiome, the chemtrails, the aluminum, the vaccine, some of it. Yes, I know it sounds like just more conspiracy theory, but the fluoride in the water. Get spring water. Take care of your body. Do some yoga, rest, earth. Get out barefoot on the grass, the dirt, as much as you can. Connect to Mother Earth. She is ascending as well. She's supporting us. We're all connected. It's an exciting time, but we got to clean up our bodies too. Number 9 is balance the beautiful intellect with the heart. We need to get in touch with the intuition, that guidance system we each have. The head is important, but it's incomplete. The true wisdom is through that portal of the heart. Start to play with and trust the intuition. Practice trusting it. Very important. And the feminine energy, I should say too. I think of that with the heart. We're balancing that out at this time too. It's very beautiful. Finally, that feminine energy within the men as well is starting to, I want to say, make a comeback. Oh, that just touches my heart. It's so beautiful. So many beautiful shifts. Don't give in to despair. the last one I want to mention is to keep a spiritual practice in perspective. This is the most important, I guess. Just remember who we are, basically. Pay attention. Be willing to wake up to the truth of who we are. The world needs people to speak up and get ticked off and be whistleblowers. Most of all, we need people to hold the light, hold the center, be a lighthouse, stay grounded, not escape the body because it's too tough right now. Stay grounded, pick up the sword, mostly just shine that light for the good of everyone, whether light or dark. So thank you for spending a couple minutes with me. Some of you know that some of us are here at this time just for this moment. Some of us came here just because we know what a special moment this is, what an opportunity, a choice point. And I believe we are choosing well for the most part. And we are awakening this planet. We're going to create peace on Earth. It's going to be always with some polarity and duality and some challenges and bumps, especially for a while. But don't fall into despair and fear. Let's wake up and have some fun together. So it's good to be here at this amazing time of shift and honor. So blessings, and let's move forward. Namaste.